It's been a momentous week for all of us. We've honoured the sacrifices of a generation who stood against tyranny, who fought and died so that Britain could remain a free nation, a beacon of liberty, of democracy, and yes, of free speech. But as we look around today, I have to ask what many of you are asking: what have we done with that freedom? What kind of country are we becoming when reports say that a young generation no longer feels proud to be British, when only a minority say they'd be willing to fight for the country? And at the same time, when ordinary working people feel they cannot speak their minds in this country without being silenced or shamed by the ruling class. Now, Labour peer Lord Glasman has joined this debate recently by arguing that his party, the Labour Party, founded by and for the working class, has created what he calls a hostile environment for those very people. The Labour Party, Lord Glasman says, has become a space where if you speak plainly, if you voice concerns about immigration, about Brexit, about the loss of community or neighbourhood, you're no longer seen as someone in pain. Instead, you're labelled far-right, racist, sexist. We're witnessing a kind of thought policing that is chilling. Entire swathes of opinion, especially those held by the working class, are deemed unacceptable by the elites in power. We've replaced open discourse with corporate HR speak, DEI, diversity, equality, inclusion, political orthodoxy, and a culture of fear. Even historic Labour heroes like Ernest Bevin would be considered too unprogressive to stand today. Indeed, people like Clement Attlee as well, given their proud defence in the nation. This cannot go on. Britain's strength has always been in its ability to host disagreement, to tolerate dissent, to be a place where people of all classes and creeds can argue their case without fear of persecution. That's what VE Day is all about. Freedom won, freedom maintained. But we're drifting from that heritage. Lord Glasman calls for a working class insurrection, not of violence, but of voice, a reassertion of the values this country has long stood for: sovereignty, security, family, and above all, the right to speak freely, and yes, sometimes, to offend. It's time to get a grip. We need to remember that freedom of speech is not some culture war buzzword. It's the very essence of British democracy. We didn't defeat fascism just to muzzle ourselves with our own self-censorship. So on this week of remembrance and reflection, let's ask ourselves honestly, are we still a free people, or are we just pretending to be? If the answer is the latter, then it's time we made ourselves free again, not just in law, but in culture, in politics, in media, and in everyday speech. Let's be the Britain our grandparents fought for.